This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Thursday, October 30th, 2025, and we're so glad you can join us for today's episode. In today's show, I will be joined by Cory Bratland of agmarket.net for our closing market discussion. A lot to talk about with the framework of a trade agreement between the United States and China. But first, we will have some video from Riley Smith, who had the chance to visit the Food Bank of Iowa for a very timely donation from Iowa Pork and Fareway that was headed to the Food Bank of Iowa, and it comes at a time of need. And Riley is joined by Tami Nielsen, the president and CEO of the Food Bank of Iowa.
We're here at the Food Bank of Iowa with Food Bank of Iowa CEO Tami Nielsen, and of course, a big donation today coming from the Iowa Pork Producers and Fareway. It's a donation that we've been seeing a lot over the past few years, and it's really great to see, especially this time of year. Tami, if you could first off tell us about the donation and what it means to the food bank, especially right now.
Well, we received 4,300 pounds of ground pork, which is such a great protein, highly requested and highly used within our pantry network. All partners really value this protein. And so right now we are facing, with the government shutdown, we're rolling into November where SNAP benefits will not be allocated to folks who are using SNAP benefits. And so that creates a large gap. We know for every one meal that we provide, SNAP provides 9. And so those 9 meals out of 10 will be missing. And we know that the charitable food system cannot fill that gap, but we know also that our partners are going to see more folks coming to them. Often, I'm sure they'll see people for the first time. And so having this additional protein on inventory for our partners could not come at a better time. And we have such a great partnership with the pork producers and with Fareway that they are, steadfast in their support for us. And as I said, the timing is just fantastic.
And you know that demand is heightened as well. Donations like this, a huge donation, lots of great protein, it's going to go out the doors pretty quick, isn't it?
It is. Our inventory turns so quickly because before the government shutdown, we were seeing increase month over month. The need was increasing. Folks were visiting pantries. And now we know that's going to skyrocket with that, development. The SNAP benefits won't be available for the month of December or month of November. And so we know that we're going to have more food going out the door, more deliveries. It's just going to be more. Everybody's going to need more. And so we are gearing up. We're here for our partners, and our partners are here for our neighbors as well. And so we're really, working together to make sure that we can do the best we can.
And I know the donation like this really speaks to the abilities of both Pork Producers Association and Fareway. Longtime partners of the Food Bank of Iowa, offered a ton of support, and really great to see that partnership continue. I know it's been a very fruitful partnership between them.
It has. We could not do this work without wonderful donors, and the pork producers and Fareway are very consistent in their support and always asking what they can do to help. And so absolutely, we value this relationship and we look forward to that continuing. They are great partners to us. Absolutely.
And then for the people, you mentioned there's going to be a lot of new faces who are coming into food banks here soon. And I know a big thing for people to be able to get in is kind of the mental block of, am I willing to admit that I need help on that front? But I think a good message to put out there is no matter who you are, what your background is, you're welcome to get those donations. And, if you need the help, get the help.
Absolutely, you're so right. There's some stigma attached to needing help, and a lot of folks are reluctant, or they feel like somebody else needs it worse than they do. Right now, our partners are ready to welcome new faces and new families into their organizations. You can pop on to foodbankiowa.org and click on the Get Help tab. You can put in your address, your work address, your zip code. wherever you are, to just see where the nearest food provider is to you and get those services. And they serve with dignity, they're welcoming, they're happy to see folks. What we don't want is to see people go hungry. And so what that means is we want you to come to our partners for food. We want to serve you so that you're not going out without, and your family, your children are not going without.
And then for people, there will be new faces who are coming into the pantry. There's going to be new faces making donations as well. There's a lot of talk from people all across the state of they are willing and ready to help. So for the Food Bank of Iowa, what's the best way to receive help? I know that monetary donations can go really far.
Yeah, for every dollar you provide to us, we can get 3-4 times, sometimes even 5 times more than you can get by going to your retailer and making a purchase. And so that donor dollar, we can stretch it so far. So we really appreciate those donations. We are wonderful stewards of our donor dollars. Really proud of the fact that 96 cents of every dollar donated goes directly into programming and food. And so it goes out to our community. It comes from our community. The donor provides that, and then it goes out to our community. And so there's a lot of pieces in this puzzle that makes this work. And so everybody plays an important part, and our donors are certainly huge in that.
Tami, thank you so much for your time today. Really great to see this donation, and we wish you luck as you move forward.
That was Riley Smith and the president and CEO of the Food Bank of Iowa, Tami Nielsen, here on today's episode of Ag Matters PM. Up next, it is the closing markets. I will be joined by Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. But first, a word from the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM, and it is time now for the closing markets. I am joined by Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. Cory, what happened in the trade in the grains today after quite a bit of news in the overnight?
Hey, Mark. Markets were definitely wild in the overnight. We had a 44-cent trading range, and that was all on soybeans. That was all set up here by 4:30 this morning when I got up to do my morning commentary. We had President Trump and President Xi from China met in South Korea here. Would have been last night our time, early morning there in South Korea. And initially, nothing come out of the meeting. We didn't see any details, but they did agree to a trade deal, but we didn't see any specific numbers. The bean market sold off early this morning, down 18-20 cents. And then about 7 o'clock or so, we started to get some specific numbers. And on the end of the day, we're going to have beans are going to end up about 11-12 cents higher. Corn was a little sluggish here. I think we just got a little hedge pressure here going on. But, the trade deal getting with China is a relief that, hey, we got some, good demand. We got China back in buying some beans from the U.S. and going to continue from here going forward and over the next 3 years, it sounds like.
So right now, the next step for everyone that's watching the ag markets, everyone that's involved in the ag markets, is it just to try and find out more of those details as they trickle out to see just how big of a deal this is going to be in terms of how many soybeans we move?
Yeah, like right now, China has agreed to buy 12 million metric ton, which is around 450 million bushels of beans yet this year. Okay, we can't physically ship those beans with our capacity, but it sounds like China's going to get those on the books, I believe, till the end of January. Then January 1 on a calendar year going forward, I believe they have agreed to buy 25 million metric ton, which puts China back to where they had been buying beans from the U.S. before. So just gets them back into the market, something that we can count on here now the next at least a 3-year commitment. So like I said, we don't have to worry about them going to South America. They'll still buy some from Brazil, Argentina, but they're going to buy a bulk of them here from the U.S. So overall, as long as we hold them to that, that's going to be some good business to count on here going forward.
Of course, we've been hyper-focused on the grain side of the markets here today, but what happened in the livestock trade?
Yeah, cattle are pretty volatile again. We saw the live cattle, December cattle had about a $3 trading range. They settled about 20 cents higher here in the day, so real quiet. I am hearing, cash trade here earlier this week was up a little bit. So I think these live cattle are seeming to be stabilizing in here. Feeder cattle still pretty volatile. They were down a couple bucks earlier today. They were up $3.50 to $4. End of the day, down about 25 cents. So all in all, I mean, it just starting to stabilize in here would be very good, especially for these feeder cattle market, which have been very, very volatile. The lean hogs, they ended up down just a touch here today, although we're still seeing the lean hog index well above where the futures are. So somewhere along the line here in the short term, I would expect that to close the gap between the futures and the lean hog prices.
A lot to think about today in relation to the ag marketplace. What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch for more marketing information?
Yeah, just head on over to our website, which is agmarket.net, and you can get a hold of us there.
Lots of great resources and information from the team at agmarket.net. He is Cory Bratland. Cory, thanks so much for the time here today. Always appreciate it, and we'll speak again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you to Cory Bratland of agmarket.net for our closing market discussion. Let's take a look at the closing numbers from today's ag marketplace. You can find that information anytime under the markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
December corn closes down 3 3/4 at $4.30 1/4. November soybeans up 11 cents at $10.91 1/4. December soybean meal up $6.90 at $3.15.60. December soybean oil down 51 cents at $49.65. Chicago wheat down 8 cents at $5.24 1/4. Minneapolis wheat down 10 cents at $5.51. Kansas City hard red wheat down 9 3/4 at $5.13 even. December oats down 6 1/2 at $2.83. On the Merc, December live cattle closes up 20 cents at $231.10. November feeder cattle down 25 cents at $341.83. December lean hogs up 5 cents at $80.83. December pork cutout unchanged at 95 even. Class 3 milk down 11 cents at $17.72.
That wraps up our closing market discussion and brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can follow us on social media at Facebook and X, and you can listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcast, as well as our daily episodes of our Iowa Ag Matters podcast at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith and Dustin Huffman, you've been watching Ag Matters PM.